Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm your host, Brian, and today let's talk about Darth Vader's mindset after Episode 3 of Obi Wan Kenobi. He has fully embraced the dark side, and his hatred towards Obi Wan has made him into the galaxy's most fearful and ruthless villain we have hoped to see on screen for over 40 years. Most casual Star Wars fans who love the movies and other Disney Plus shows don't realize that the comics are canon and have brought depth to all Star Wars characters, including Vader himself. So let's examine what Vader has gone through between Episode 3 and the Obi Wan Show. Remember, it's been about 10 years since Anakin was left to die on Mustafar. One of his first missions from Emperor Palpatine was to create his own new lightsaber, as his was taken from him in his battle with Obi-Wan. Vader was instructed to hunt down a Jedi and take his kyber crystal. Emperor Palpatine explained to him that there are no red kyber crystals, and he would need to corrupt the crystal. In order to corrupt the crystal, he would need to teach it its pain and anger in order to wield it. But all kyber crystals are pulsing with light side energy. Upon attempting to corrupt the crystal fought back and tried to turn Vader back to Anakin. Upon the impact of the green kyber crystal fighting back, Vader's lens broke, and for a quick second Vader's eyes turned bright blue as he once had them as a promising young Jedi. Vader has a dream of walking into Emperor Palpatine's throne room and doing what he should have done the moment he saw Mace Windu back in Revenge of the Sith. This time Anakin defeats the Emperor, and hoping to redeem himself, he locates Obi-Wan. But Anakin doesn't find the peace he was looking for, as Obi-Wan stares at Anakin in disappointment and in disbelief. Vader realizes that he cannot go back to his old life and fully embraces the dark side. Coming to terms with what he has done and what he has become, Vader grabs that kyber crystal and injects it with all his anger and hate, reminiscing his duel with Obi-Wan, losing his mother, losing Padme, and his children. And within seconds his crystal turns red, fueled by his hate towards Obi-Wan. Episode 3 of Obi-Wan has done a great job realizing what has been done in the comics. Remember, Obi-Wan asked Vader what he has become in the show, and in the comics he had the vision of defeating Emperor Palpatine only to meet with Obi-Wan as he looked at Vader in disbelief of what he had become. In many ways, this scene in Episode 3 comes full circle and makes his dream a reality. Obi-Wan sees a monster. Now we jump to the beginning of the episode where we see Vader exiting the Bacta tank as his armor is getting inserted into his body. The interesting part is that Vader enhances his own suit. In the comics, Vader decides to rebuild his suit. Vader has always been a great engineer and puts those skills to use as he is unhappy with the way his suit functions and takes it upon himself to customize his suit as he sees fit. At the beginning, the Empire wasn't sure what to think about Vader. They even tried to set him up so they could kill him. Vader grew angry, and the angrier he got, the more killing he did, to the point Emperor Palpatine told him to cool it, as he didn't want to rule a galaxy of dead people. This conversation showed that he wasn't just the Emperor's right-hand man, but he could enforce his own plan, as long as he didn't conflict with the Emperor's plans and objectives. Vader decided to hold a meeting out of pure hate and anger over his attempted murders. He killed 5 soldiers as an example of how ruthless he can be. A life means nothing to him. When Vader is in the Bacta tank or meditating, he always has visions that drive his anger and hate. He relives his fight with Obi-Wan in Mustafar, but this time he doesn't jump over Obi-Wan. He uses the Force to lift him up and throw him into the fire. I know a lot of people were a little upset about their fight in Episode 3 of Obi-Wan, but for a fan like myself that is well-rounded and familiar with other media, I was like, holy shit, he's living out his dream, just like he played it out. He used the Force to lift Obi-Wan up and was dragging him through the fire. Vader wants Obi-Wan to suffer and die a slowly death. Remember, he blames him for losing his wife, his children, and hates him for cutting him into pieces. He will torture Obi-Wan at any cost. And finally, the Inquisitors were created to hunt down all Jedi, as you have seen in the new Obi Wan show. One of Vader's most promising kills has been Jedi Master Eth Koth, who served on the Jedi Council. Vader only knows hate and feels no remorse over killing a former ally. He takes his newborn daughter and kidnaps her. At this point we can only speculate to what has happened to her. This comic book run of Darth Vader finishes with his construction of his castle on Mustafar, that I will explain in a later video to why he chose Mustafar as his home. I recommend you read this run of Darth Vader, which is a fast read as there's only 25 issues, and make sure you read the right one, which is the 2017-2018 run. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll have a better insight to what Vader has been up to prior to the Obi Wan show. So please make sure you subscribe, like, and leave us a comment.